Just drop that.
We are live. We are live with Miss Riley Jane
Hi.
Willis. God, that sounds like a Hollywood name, Riley Jane Willis.
You know, Nana used to call Casty Jane.
Okay. Gosh, what a great day today. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining our podcast. Today, we're going to talk about grounding. We've got a lot of good information, and grounding is going to cover a lot of stuff. Everybody talks med beds, and our Earth is the ultimate med bed. So, once again, we are going to get into that, but there's so many benefits, right? The goal is to find ways to keep yourself healthy and do it in a way where you're not having to spend money, right? Primarily trying to do it in a way where you're interacting with nature and all the wonderful things that are free to us on this planet. So we are going to start getting into that. Riley, nice to see you today. How are you?
Yes, doing well. How are you?
Absolutely peaches.
Perfect. We love to be here. We are so excited. So we are USA MedBed and Healthy Life Technology.
Healthy Life Technology, our website. We had a lot of really good feedback from our last podcast that we did, which was on, what day was that, Friday?
I think so.
So if anybody has questions, feel free to jump on, and I'm going to open up our chat. And do you want to type in Healthy Life Technology just to get the chat going? So inflammation is one of the leading causes of death on the planet Earth. And we're going to get into talk a little bit about inflammation, what causes it, why people are dealing with a lot of stiffness, soreness, arthritis, a lot of these different problems. And basically, we can attribute a lot of the issues that we have from lack of contact with touching the earth. And if you can imagine through our evolution as us being humans, we always were in contact with the earth, right? So we were walking around, we had leather sole shoes. But when the revolution came, give me just a sec here, people. When the revolution came for rubber sole shoes, we disconnected from the earth. And when that happened, it created a whole host of problems. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about what those problems are and why that results in inflammation. And a really great movie. Now, this is all science-based stuff. You have the Earthing movie on there. Oh, you've got it on your computer? Dang, girl. You're high tech. I love that. That's why we love having young people around. So, yeah, I was going to try to do it on my phone. But the Earthing movie is a phenomenal movie. 20 scientific studies. And I really suggest everybody watch that movie because that really gets into the science of what it does, how it works. It gets into why your blood starts getting coagulated and clumping when you're not making contact with the earth. So many people nowadays are talking about having issues with strokes and all these different issues with blood. And there's been a lot of things, going on in the medical industry that have probably had some possible implications for that. So with that being said, one of the normal processes for us as humans is obviously cell regeneration. And we all know that every, do you want to just put that on hold for now? So it's not, yeah. So basically, during cell regeneration, bad cells get replaced. Basically what happens is that the white blood cell gets sent to clear off the bad cell. It releases a free radical, which kind of cleans up the mess. And once the free radical is done in a healthy body, an electron will basically connect with that free radical, stabilize the cell. Job is complete, all over. Now, one of the things that we get from the earth are electrons, right? Electrons basically come from the sun. They hit the earth and bounce up into the outer atmosphere. Right. So electrons come from the sun. They're essential for our basically for our maintenance and for our body. And when the lightning strikes, what it does, it brings negative ions into the earth. Now, if you can imagine, the earth is primarily nickel and ore and metal. And so those electrons basically get implanted into the earth. And there's about 6,000 lightning strikes happening every 5 minutes on the earth. So the earth is constantly zapping us with electricity and bringing those ions into the earth, right? So basically, those ions or those electrons are infused into our body when we touch the earth. So when we put our feet physically on the ground, our body absorbs electrons, and those electrons thus are essential for maintaining good health. They're really good for declustering your blood, but what they're also very, very, very essential for is neutralizing free radicals. Free radicals are extremely damaging cells, and it's a buildup of free radical cells that causes inflammation. And when your body doesn't have electrons, those free radicals build up and start causing a massive amount of damage. And it's the silent inflammation and it's the silent buildup of free radical cells, which is the actual cause and root cause of things like heart disease and a lot of the most, probably some of the most serious health issues. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, as we're talking about grounding, it gets really intense. As I always say, there's layers to everything. But basically just remembering that grounding is simple. It's just about reconnecting with nature. It's about getting yourself on the Schumann residence, walking barefoot on the grass, sand, dirt, just feeling the earth beneath you. Also, physics plays a really, really, really important part. And that's why we are using these ourselves. And that's why we are a part of this movement to help everyone be grounded in your own home, especially for those that don't have the opportunity to get out, walk around in the grass and just do stuff like that. And for me, having such inflammation, having terrible migraines and always having just insane inflammation in my head, when I started sleeping on one of the pillowcases, I literally stopped getting migraines. So it's just, what it can do is it's just crazy. It puts a lot of things into perspective.
Right. And so just to get back to kind of what we were talking about, the body absorbing all those electrons then is essential for reduction of inflammation. And people say, well, I've had a bad back for 20 years, or I've had a bad back for 5 years, or, my arms are stiff and I'm sore. A lot of that primarily can be caused and is the result of not making physical contact with the earth or not grounding. And so one of the things that we do now, if you follow the channel, I go out hiking quite a bit. Riley's outdoors a lot. And one of the things I do when I finish the hike is literally take my boots off and my shoes and sit down next to this little creek and do at least 10 or 15 minutes of grounding. And we have grounding technology also. So for people that are out there that are not able to physically do that, we sell a lot of grounding technology, which we'll get to here in the show as we go forward. But the reduction of inflammation is really essential. It's silent inflammation. It's not the kind of inflammation where you sprained your ankle and your ankle's all swollen. Hey, Nikhil Gupta, you're back. Thank you so much for coming back to join us today. This is the kind of inflammation that's silent inflammation. And therefore, this is the kind of inflammation where you want to address it because it's happening internally. And this is one of the key things that actually increases the aging process and starts the physical breakdown of the body. A buildup of free radical cells in the body over a prolonged period of time is going to manifest into some type of serious health issue. And a lot of the most serious health issues that we have, they can't really give us a good reason as to why they occur or how they occur. But it's quite clear, according to the World Health Organization, that 80% or more of all deaths on the planet Earth are the result of some type of inflammatory disease. So with that being said, today's call and today's talk from the spaceship here looking out over the great planet Earth is going to be on inflammation. Now, grounding has a lot of benefits, Number one benefit is obviously reducing inflammation, because that's probably the most serious issue that we deal with, but it's also going to get into better sleep. And Riley, you touched on that earlier.
Yes.
About the better sleep. And you talked about the Schumann resonance. And if anybody's heard the term Schumann resonance, basically what that is the frequency that the earth vibrates on. The earth vibrates at a frequency referred to as the Schumann resonance. Well, by all coincidence, guess what? Our brain also runs on the Schumann resonance. Go figure.
Not a coincidence.
Yeah, after hundreds of thousands or however many years through the development of mankind being connected to the earth, we run on the earth frequency.
Yep.
So when you're running around with shoes on every day and you're disconnected from the earth and people are having issues with their circadian rhythm and they're up at 3 a.m. and they can't figure out why, and they're completely out of touch with the earth cycle. And you have to understand the earth is a small little planet that's spinning around a lot of other planets. They're spinning around a lot of other planets. And so in the Earth's atmosphere, to be calibrated to night and day and everything else, you need to be grounded. You need to be connected to the earth. And so grounding, by bringing you back into that Schumann resonance, definitely helps with circadian rhythms, but it's scientifically proven to have much better sleep. And that's another reason why the Earthing movie is such a profound movie, because it really gets into 20 to 21 scientific studies that were done at the University of California, San Diego, back in my old hometown. And they spent millions of dollars on these studies because they wanted to have scientific evidence to show that people were sleeping better. And there's a lot of really good movies actually on YouTube about grounding. One is also a guy from Alaska who just goes into all these remote villages and grabs wire, plants it into the ground, and connects these people to grounding. And everybody in the town is seeing benefits. One of the benefits was also reduction in snoring. A lot of the women reported that when their husbands were grounded, it reduced snoring. That was one of the key things that came out of that video. And the other thing that I think was brilliant was that the village doctor, it was only like 400 people, it was a small village, was very like anti-grounding. He just said, no, I don't buy into it. I don't believe it. But eventually, by the end of the movie, after seeing almost every single person in that village getting benefits from being connected to the earth, even that local doctor said, wow, okay, I believe it. I can see it. And this is definitely for real. So grounding talks about inflammation, which we've just talked about, reducing inflammation. When your body brings electrons into the body, a free radical cell, which is the damaging cell causing inflammation, is a cell missing an electron. So when your body is saturated with electrons from either touching the earth or touching grounding fabric, you've got those electrons then to basically neutralize the free radical cells. And as you reduce free radicals and neutralize those, you reduce inflammation, which then reduces stiffness, soreness, arthritis, and all these other conditions that go to it. So we talked inflammation, we talked better sleep. Miss Riley, what should we talk about next?
Well, honestly, there are many things.
Well, we'll get to the movie, but the next thing I do want to cover is how it affects your blood. When you are not grounded and you're not grounding, one of the things that starts, yeah, that's the perfect piece right there. One of the things that starts happening is that it compromises the red blood cell wall. And when the red blood cell walls are compromised, basically what that means, they go from being round and cylinder, or round and robust, to being coagulated and more like jelly, and they clump and clot, and they start making it much harder for your heart to push blood through the body. So being grounded, one of the things that you'll see almost immediately within 30 minutes to an hour, 2 hours, is the restructuring of the blood back to its little cell walls and reducing blood viscosity and basically making the blood much more efficient for pumping through the body. Now, this is a grounding fabric that we sell. And for anybody that's out there, we're in Virginia. Today it's in the 50s. It's been in the 30s. It goes up and down. But if you're in an area of the country where it's hard to get outside and put your feet on the ground, this is a really great technology. And you can see that what that is silver. And if you've seen the videos and heard us talk before, it's not just any silver, it's actually coiled silver. And why is it coiled? Well, for any of you old people out there, and this is going to tell you how old you are, if you can remember what a slinky is, then you're old. And I grew up with slinkies. And so, but the reason that the silver is coiled is so that when, like, you can see what Riley's doing with it is she's twisting it, flexing it. When you press your fingers and stretch it,
It's flexible.
it's flexible. It doesn't break, right? Now, also you can see that on this is 40% of the surface of this fabric is silver. 40% is a lot of silver, right? And I see a lot of this stuff that's out there and you can't even see any silver in it. It's such a small amount of silver that it's almost barely visible. And not only that, but if it's a strand of silver and not coil, a lot of the strand silver products were recalled. They were made overseas. And get a little bit closer. There you go. And you can see all the different grids and patterns and things that are on there. But the silver strand, the strands of silver, those basically start breaking. And as that silver strand breaks due to the flexing and moving of the fabric, then what happens is that it loses conductivity and therefore it loses its value.
And
so
another important thing is that it's antimicrobial. If you're a germaphobe, I'm not a germaphobe, but some people could consider me a germaphobe. So it's very, very clean, very clean.
Very, very clean. And most of you probably know, Riley and myself, we're in the medical industry. So in addition to the health and wellness technology products, we also sell medical equipment, set up doctor offices, working on hospital projects around the world, setting up just about everything and anything that people need for that. But we have, Michael, welcome back. It does do the exact same thing.
Yep. My best friend is from Kalamazoo, and she actually didn't even know that I was doing this, and she had interest in it herself, and that is why, because the weather.
Can you hand me the thing? So, Michael, back in the 1950s, just a small piece. Back in the 1950s, they made a code where every home had to be built with a grounding rod outside. And if you look at this, you'll see that the electric pieces are not being used. Those are just plastic. And that's really just there to help guide in the actual grounding plug itself. And every home since the 50s has a grounding outlet. Some of the older homes have been retrofitted, but that copper grounding rod literally can bring that earth energy from the earth into your outlet, from your outlet into the fabric. And this fabric, being silver, is conductive, and therefore it brings those electrons into the body, right? So it's absolutely the same. And really, that's actually a good analogy. Laying on these fabrics is non-different than actually sleeping outside on your front yard. And so that's a really good point. And so your body's in a rejuvenation mode when you're sleeping, and therefore being grounded when you're sleeping not only puts your brain waves at the Schumann resonance, which is the frequency that your brain runs on, which improves your sleep, proven up to 20% deeper REM sleep from that.
And stress relief, not to cut you off, but that was one thing that I really wanted to talk about, because in today's fast-paced world, we're more disconnected from nature than ever before. And grounding is really the way to reclaim that connection. And so just the calming effects and the stress relief that you get from either being barefoot in a natural setting or having it literally at your fingertips.
Yes. And anxiety and stress, a huge reduction in anxiety and stress by sleeping better, sleeping deeper. And right now, with the Wi-Fi and all the electronic stuff that's out there, with these things, there's a lot of disruption in our normal sleep patterns because of the environment that we're in. So you're going to get 20% up to 20% deeper REM sleep. And that was proven through scientific studies. Not only that, but It's been proven many times also with all of us, just with our sleep watches and different friends that have the ability to track your sleep at night with, I believe it's an Apple Watch.
And we do also have these for sale to just kind of block a little of the PEMF.
EMF, yeah.
And just to mention that too, because these are really helpful. That will cover the phone next to you as well.
Riley, what a great segue. So now we've talked about benefits of grounding, reducing inflammation, sleeping better, improves your blood viscosity. It reduces the clumping and clotting of your blood. The other thing it does, it pulls all the positive charged electrical from cell phones and everything out of your body.
Yeah. Consistent too.
Being consistent, yeah. So once you've basically made contact either with the earth or something that's grounded, it immediately pulls all that excess electrical energy out of the body, which is very destructive, quite honestly. If you're in an area where you're getting exposure to that, it's really not good for you at all. So the minute you're grounded, that pulls it right out of you. I think we have Ruben and Julia Valdez.
Be able to fly there and get in your med beds.
You can always fly here and get into our med beds.
Absolutely, anytime.
Yeah, just call Riley and schedule a time. But the first thing we're going to do before we actually throw you in a med bed is we're going to do a bioscan.
Yes.
And we could probably do one of our calls on the bioscanner coming up. But the bioscan we have will run a complete diagnostic scan, and it'll
What
go
if we
through.
do that on Wednesday?
We could do that Wednesday.
All right, guys, we're gonna do it
Or
on
tomorrow.
Wednesday. No,
Or-
let's do it Wednesday.
Wednesday's New Year's Day.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
I thought tomorrow was New Year's Day.
No, Wednesday is
Oh, okay, then Thursday.
Thursday. But the bioscans, so the bioscan will basically tell us everything about the body. It goes and bounces off all your biomarkers. We'll know everything about everything. And then once we know that, then when we start running the technologies, we'll know what frequency sets are going to
And I'm
be.
so excited because
Yeah.
we're going to do me on Thursday.
Yeah, we're going to do you on Thursday.
Yes.
And
That's awesome.
yeah, and then but the beautiful thing about the bioscanner, that technology, is that the bioscanner not only can read every single part of your body, it can also run corrective frequencies. And then what it can also do is it can run a update to show you how much improvement you got from that session. So whether it was just with the bioscanner and those corrective frequencies, or we ran the scan, ran you through the plasma energy spheres, the celestial pod, all those different technologies, the oscillators, then we can go in and say, hey,
now it's time.
this is where you were
Yeah.
when you came in. This is where you're at now. This is the amount of benefit that you've had. And then with that, we're able to kind of really show you progress, but also make sure that the frequencies and energies that we're using are targeted to parts of the body that for you would probably be the areas that we'd want to focus on. And there's a lot of general energy and frequency stuff that we can use, but there's also very specific things that we can use. In fact, the plasma energy spheres, the plasma energy spheres run on an app, and I'm going to just pull that up real quick. And that app basically allows you to target any part of the body that you'd like. And so,
and then after that, we'll get back to grounding and finish off with
yes.
that.
But you can see, I hope you can see kind of a glare there.
Yeah, I'm going to go in a little closer. There we go.
Oh, there we go. I've got like heart, lungs, I can focus on anything. And that's a scrolling thing. So I can just.
It has a full chakra cascade.
Full
which
chakra
is
cascade.
Just incredible.
Charging the body.
Oof, I love that.
It just depends how long you should be here really depends on what it is that you need, what you're looking to accomplish. A lot of times there's technology in your own neck of the woods, depending on where you're coming from. So you can always reach out to us because we know a lot of locations around the country.
Yes, send us an email. It's usamedbed@gmail. I'll go ahead and put it in the comments for us.
But if you're looking for very specific things and it needs extended amounts of time, it might be more cost effective to be in an area that's close to you. And at that point, it might even be conducive to just get some of the lower price technology that you can use at home, so you really don't even have to go anywhere. Can you put dashes in between?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. 495.
Oh.
804 495.
Yep, I did the wrong thing.
Mixing cell phone up with
I
that.
know. We have so many numbers.
Oh, yes.
This is the correct number. Okay, perfect.
There we go.
That's great. Awesome. Well, that'll be an exciting event.
Charging up to 80,000. I don't think anybody's charging 80,000 for a membership. I think they're charging up to 80,000 for the technology. The probably the more expensive technology that's the most popular is the EE system, and the EE system is that can run up to about 120,000, I believe. They sell them from 15,000 up to 120,000. So it could be that they're actually selling the technology, because I'm not aware of anybody charging anything remotely close to that. Most of the EE systems are set up on a corporate structure where they agree to charge no more than $50 an hour. And many of those places will set up a specialized program for people if there's any sort of financial issues there. They'll do that for them.
Mhm.
And the EE systems probably have about maybe 400 or 500 around, North America, probably at least 200 or 300 in the States. And so they're very easy to find. But there's a lot of technology out there, and some technology is really good for some things. Other technology is better for others. So, you can email us and give us a little more information. We might be able to direct you to something else. There's also the Therify technology that me and Riley are big fans on from Dan Winter. If you follow our channel, we've been very graced and very blessed to have Dan on our show a few times, and vice versa, us on his. And that's true medbed technology. I mean, that's technology inscribed in hieroglyphics, and that's technology that actually is extraterrestrial type technology. And if you heard the story from one of our last podcasts, I probably said it a few times. I think it was the Sumerians that were the builder race. I don't know if it was the Anunnaki. It might have been. But when you're going way back, it wasn't like most people agree, and even the Egyptians, that they weren't the actual ones that built the pyramids, that they came before. And when they came down to build all this stuff on the earth, the pyramids were built to stabilize the earth's atmosphere, primarily because there was a lot of disruptions going on in outer space. I was just listening to a video with Mike Barr and Carrie Thornton talking about that. But they built the pyramids to stabilize the earth's atmosphere. The people that built them were aging prematurely in the earth's atmosphere. It wasn't conducive to them. They were using dual tube plasma systems to recharge their bodies, to regain that energy that they needed. The bottom of the pyramids were also massive healing centers. The Bosnian pyramid has at least 5,000 or 6,000 documented testimonials of people running around working in those tunnels or being in those tunnels and having miraculous types of things happening to them. And that's no coincidence. But that kind of gets into that, and I can segue back into the grounding.
Definitely. If anyone has any questions, definitely feel free to throw it in the chat.
Yep. So San Diego, that is my hometown, as most people know.
What is cure Parkinson's?
Yeah. So for Parkinson's, first off, anything I do is not medical advice, right? I'm just telling you what I know from what I've learned and from what I picked up. The very first thing that I would say for anything related to Parkinson's or any of these other diseases is to go to a website called medicalmedium.com. There's a guy named Anthony William who has a lot of great information on Parkinson's. And with Parkinson's, there's a lot of stuff that's talked about, but what they talk about is how metal in the body, whether it's aluminum or other types of metal, is getting into the signaling process. The brain's trying to send signals to the muscle. The metals are getting in the way. It's refracting the signal back and forth. It's causing shaking. It's causing a lot of movement. And it is basically the result of toxic heavy metal buildup. And therefore, detoxing the body from heavy metal, toxic heavy metal,
which we also have.
which
as
we
well.
have. Yes, we have that, and we've done many calls with
Dr. Ben.
Dr. Ben Goins.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of the things you want to do. And in all honesty, with any and all things, including maintaining good health, like if you're a special forces guy and you're in the field, you've got a rifle, a pistol, a knife, you've got a multiple set of things that you're going to use. If you're trying to address health and wellness, including Parkinson's, diet's going to be the very first thing. Heavy metal detoxing is going to be very important. I've had this discussion many times with people that call me that are opening up wellness centers or they want to buy technology. And we talk about dual tube and single tube plasma systems, which can get into what we would refer to also as a Rife machine or Rife technology, which is primarily single tube. And Rife technology is phenomenal for getting rid of the stuff you don't want, right? So there's other issues that go on with things like ALS and other diseases that are being caused from issues with toxic heavy metal, viruses building up, feeding on that, causing inflammation, and then causing breakdowns with the cognitive skills, cognitive abilities. And so single tube systems where you can target a very specific issue, whether it's killing off bad cells, killing off viruses, killing off parasites, single tube systems are really good for that. Dual tube systems are primarily really good for regeneration, right? And so if anybody follows the channel, there's a guy named Bob that's come through here many times. Him and his wife have been here. And Bob had an issue where he got checked into the hospital and he only had about 10%, 20% of his heart was actually working, right? And obviously that guy's fearless. He had a very, very good attitude considering that was pretty serious. His wife, however, was freaked out and was terrified because obviously, they're older folks and she doesn't want to lose her husband. I mean, let's just be honest. And who does? Nobody wants to lose a loved one. So we put Bob in the bioscanner, right? And took a look at all the stuff going on with him. We ran corrective frequencies and we ran three sessions with him in the plasma energy spheres. We threw him in the plasma energy spheres and the bioscanner running the corrective frequencies. And within about 2 weeks, I believe it was, we had gotten his the readings showed up that we had doubled. He was at 40% functionality with the heart, which was really good considering, the amount of time that we were able to work with him. But Leon, if you want to cure Parkinson's, first off, we can't use the word cure because according to the American Medical Association, those don't exist. And we would certainly never want to rub those people the wrong way. And they
treat.
Yeah. Well, we use words like address, but
no, they use words like treat.
Yeah. But for Parkinson's, like we were talking about, the first thing you really need to do is get the heavy metals out of the body. Now, anybody that's out there, we start off on grounding. This happens very frequently. I don't mind a bit. Get rid of aluminum foil. Do not wrap your food up in aluminum foil. I mean, that aluminum is leaching into your food. You're eating it. It's absolutely, first off, let's just talk about what not to do. Then we'll tell you what to do. Because if you keep doing these things over and over, I would just assume you just go your merry own way and just let the whole thing collapse on itself, because you have to take decisive action in your life to deal with these issues.
So what should we not do?
So we definitely do not want to use a microwave. And it's very hard for me to use that word without throwing out 4-letter words, because I'm just going to tell you that's what I think about a microwave. And for anybody out there that's too lazy to make food some other way, you know what? You just take the consequences and deal with them. But don't come to me, saying, oh, I need a med bed. No, you don't. You actually just need to live a healthy lifestyle and get rid of toxic things in your body and in your household. They're absolutely killing you because you're just straight up lazy. And Leon, I'm 58. the word Leon or the name Leon is an older name, not as prevalent with newer people. I'm going to assume you're an older person. Older people didn't grow up with this stuff. We didn't grow up with microwaves and all that. That came later, in our lifetime. So we can all revert back to the life it was when you put a pot on the stove and filled it up and, you heated food up. I used the toaster oven. Riley will tell you. Mm-hmm. A toaster oven for me, and many times I just eat it, cold. As is, cold. Yeah. I don't even care. Got to stay away from plastic. Do not store stuff in plastic, and do not ever, and I hate to say this because it's not a reflection on my mom, and everybody knows I love my mother dearly. But we had a big lasagna, and the flipping lasagna was stored in this big aluminum pan, right? That's how it came from the store. And so my mom said, well, here, I'm going to send this home with you. Well, I cut off the top of it, tried not to eat the actual part that was connected to the aluminum. But honestly, I wasn't able to eat half of it because it's stored in aluminum. It's being heated in aluminum. I mean,
and a lot of people are unaware of.
Oh no, and that's the point. The point is
that's why we're here.
We just don't know, and I'm not
exactly.
I'm just saying, like let's say as an example, somebody's having a nightmare, right? And you have a friend, and they're having this nightmare. And somebody else is over and they're in the other room and they see you rush in and shake the person, right? You're shaking them. And they're like, what are you doing to that person? Leave them alone. But you know that they're having a nightmare. And if you don't wake them up, they're freaking out. And you're trying to shake them to wake them up, right? Yeah. And that's what I do when I'm trying to tell people to do the right thing.
What a great analogy.
Right? Like, I'm not here to be... number one, I'm not here to be condescending, but I'm also not here to pity pat around. This has to be done. Yes. And it's not up for a debate.
There's no time to waste. That's the one thing that we all want more of.
We're doing it in an act of kindness, right? It's coming from a place of love and compassion. So, sometimes it comes off a little abrasive, and sometimes it's actually meant to be because
we just know what we're talking about.
Well, it's not hard to find it either. No. You can go online and in 10 minutes you'll go, oh wow, that guy was right. And you don't even get it. You'll get it from, actual medical science. You'll get it from a lot of different places, but Parkinson's, all these issues, a lot of this stuff is being caused. And there's a lot of stuff, in older parts of the world, in the States, we're still running water through lead pipes, lead pipes, lead paint,
water alone,
water, just all these different things. So, a lot of this stuff is stuff that's ideal for prevention, like we're talking grounding right now, we're on toxic heavy metal. But like I said, can you type in medicalmedium.com? Because this guy, Anthony William, really gives a lot of good information on Parkinson's and what causes it, and how you can address it. And a lot of times it can be done with diet, right? So before we run off saying, oh, I need this technology, yeah, that would be great, perhaps. But we can always start off with something that's not going to cost you anything, that's your food, or, detoxing, things like cilantro. Cilantro is really good for detoxing the body from heavy metal. So if it means making some choices at the grocery store and being conscious of what you're eating and trying to keep, like if you notice at our location, and I know you folks have not been here, but what are all of our utensils made out of?
Cardboard.
Bamboo.
Oh, bamboo.
Bamboo wooden utensils.
Oh, that's right.
And all of our paper plates are cardboard.
Yeah,
and
everything's brown.
Everything's brown. We're not in all of our cups, even though there might be a trace of something in there.
No,
but
they're all cardboard.
They're all everything.
Even the tops.
So, but the thing like Riley said is just a lot of people just don't know. So we appreciate the feedback. We appreciate the information. Ruben and Julia, what are you folks looking for in MedBed? What if you can give us more information? A terahertz wand might be useful. There might be other technology that's useful for whatever it is that you're.
Would you like to briefly talk about the terahertz wand?
Let's go back to grounding.
Okay, perfect.
I think we need to do one just on the terahertz wand. That is
we definitely
blowing up right now.
We absolutely will. Okay, so we were talking about grounding. We were talking about benefits of frequent grounding, which was improved sleep and circadian rhythm regulation, reduction of chronic pain and inflammation, stress relief and emotional balance, enhanced immune function and recovery, stabilization of energy levels and focus. Which, as somebody who has used this every day for over a year now, almost 2 years now, it is everything on here has proven for me to be true.
Yes, and the grounding part of it also. Let's grab one of the boxes.
Sure.
So with the grounding technology that we have, which is the anti-aging technology, let's get the one that, yeah, that's perfect right there. So basically, it also has crystals in it, right? So inside the fabric, they double fold the fabric, and on the inside, there's a culmination of amethyst, tourmaline, and other crystals that when your body makes contact with that, it releases infrared light. So in addition to getting all the grounding benefits, you're also getting the benefits of infrared. And that basically has a whole host of benefits: detoxing. It stimulates mitochondria in the cell, which produces doubles of production, as shown to double production of ATP.
It's incredible.
Yes, and the infrared light also is really good for skin and just a whole host of different things. But when you're using the anti-aging blanket, the anti-aging pillowcase, the anti-aging bed cover, you're grounding your body. You're getting basically surrounded by all of this earth energy, and then obviously the sleep is better. Riley talked earlier about silver. I was kind of getting into the medical thing, but a lot of the medical equipment we sell, especially mattresses, are made with silver because it is antimicrobial. And in the future, you probably won't see a lot of silver in an operating room, but you will see a lot of copper. Copper and silver both kill MRSA and just about every other pathogen.
It also reduces your resting temperature. That's something, and it's the 4-in-1 far infrared technology. So it's just, I'm speechless.
So, Ruben, I would highly recommend grounding, being that you're in San Diego. If you could just get out to the beach or just get out somewhere where you can get your feet on the ground and get that earth energy and that earth electricity into the body. Yeah. I would really, of all the things I could recommend to you, I would recommend grounding. And I lived in Mission Beach for almost 30 years. I spent a lot of time outside in the beach areas. And we're going to talk about our pillowcase.
This is my favorite.
Yeah, this is the grounding pillowcase. And the grounding pillowcase is another piece. If I go down a little bit lower here, you're going to see on the bed, we also have the bed cover on here. You've got the pillowcase.
The pillowcase, and then the blanket.
The blanket.
Right here. And everything is very, very soft. It's very soft. Hearing silver, you might not associate that with soft, but it's squishy and soft and comfortable for everyone, and will not make you overheat.
Yeah, and it's double thick. So basically, on the inside, like I said, you have all this nanotechnology, all of the
Isn't that awesome?
all the tourmaline, amethyst, and all those crystals that are releasing the far infrared light, and it's referred to as the anti-aging because when your body's getting all that, it really
neutralizing free radicals makes you look younger.
Yeah, it literally slows down the aging process.
Yes.
Now, one thing that's interesting, like I said, I was talking to it might have been Leon, or might have been Ruben, or if Julie, depending on which one of you was sending us this. Oh, nice. Okay, so this plugs in, right? The grounding rod goes the outlet. This goes this. It connects into the blanket. It does have a little circuit breaker in there to make sure you're getting good energy, nothing
and it
bad.
has a very long cord, so you don't have to worry about it.
But the other thing we always get, is it washable? Yeah, this is just a little snap plug. I can just unsnap it and that thing can get thrown in the washing machine. And then when you're done, you just snap it right back in place. Boom.
Boom.
So that is
Simple and effective.
very simple, very effective. So
And animals love it. My
Yeah.
cat gravitates towards it every time it's exposed, and even under a blanket. The cats and the dogs, they will always rest on it. Like, you don't even have to announce that it's there. They figure it out.
yeah, animals are naturally instinctively going to go to something that's grounded. They're used to being outdoors. There's a reason why animals that are outdoors do not suffer the same types of illnesses and problems that animals indoors do. Animals indoors deal with the exact same issues that many of the humans do, and it's for many of the same reasons. But being connected to the earth is definitely one of the benefits that you'll find from being connected and grounding is healthier, happier living. So with that being said, you did the beach for 4 days. Yeah, I would just make that a regular routine. Like I would just say, look,
Yes.
every day for at least a half an hour. If you're in the water, great. If you're just in the sand, with your feet in the sand, I mean,
And at the beach, you have that, and you get the negative ions from the ocean.
yeah. And yeah, exactly. You get all those ions coming off the water. And I used to love that. I used to start off my day walking the beach for, a good stretch to just get my blood moving, get my mind working, telling my mind to wake up. It's time to get to work, wake up. But my goddaughter and some dear friends of mine live in Carlsbad, so I know that area very well. And with that being said, if anybody has any questions, let us know. We're going to wrap up our video today on grounding, benefits of grounding. Once again, reduction of inflammation, stiffness, soreness, arthritis, restoring the blood cell walls to their little circular fashion, avoiding clogging, clumping, and lowering blood viscosity, pulling the EMF out of the body, the electrical charged energy that's the additional energy from cell phones, and then also really good sleep, putting your brain waves and your brain function on the Schumann resonance, the earth frequency. That's a frequency the earth runs on. That's a frequency our brain runs on. Riley, if you'd like to finish it up.
Stabilization of energy levels and focus, a really big one. Stress relief and emotional balance is a really big one. Enhanced immune function and recovery. And then we said reduction in chronic pain and inflammation. But yeah, basically grounding is both scientifically supported, and it's a practice that's simple and a natural way to reconnect with the earth.
And do you want to put it? We have specials running right now.
Yeah, so I was gonna say we'll make a code
for everybody watching our live streams, whether you watch it live or you're coming to watch it afterwards. We've been starting to run some special offers. We did that on our last one, and we got some really good feedback. We really appreciate the feedback that we get. So a lot of times we're offering specials to people on our live streams so that we can get their feedback and share that with others. And we've got a lot of testimonials and a lot more coming as we keep going here.
All right. And the code will not work until probably 30 minutes after the video. And we'll do, what about this?
Sleep 15.
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I think that's phenomenal. So if you use Sleep 15,
15% off.
You're going to get a 15% discount. Wow.
Only for the video. Only for our listeners.
Oh my God, it's the secret password that nobody will know except our secret audience.
I love it.
All right, everybody. So we've got some really good stuff coming up. I'm going to do an update on medbed things going on for 2025. We obviously get a lot of calls on medbed technology. And as you know, being in the medical industry, being pretty well versed with a lot of the medbed stuff, I do feel that, number one, there are free med beds. They are going to come out. We've talked about that many times, not sure when, but a lot of really good technology that's out right now made by some of the world's leading scientists. And there's a lot of things out there now that can reduce a lot of the aches and pains and things that make life a little tough. So with that being said.
Yeah. And we also spoke briefly about the grounding movie. And we didn't really
Oh.
have the opportunity to get super into that.
You have to
but
watch the grounding movie,
yeah, it's called The Earthing.
the Earthing movie, excuse
And
me.
no, you're good. That's what it is.
It's on
a
YouTube.
movie about grounding. And yes, it is on YouTube. And let me see if I can get the beginning of it so you know what it looks like. This is this one right there. And that's the one right there. It's called The Earthing movie. And it's really incredible.
I learned more watching that movie about grounding than pretty much anything I've ever done. I've watched that movie at least 12 to 14 times, maybe more. And every time I see that, I'm like, okay, I need to watch that again. It is such a data drop of information. You've got world leading scientist, Nobel Prize winner, Dr. Steven Sinatra, cardiologist, talking about how grounding basically is, reduces the symptoms of cardiovascular disease.
Which
You've
is
got,
the number one cause of
yeah,
death.
you've got
That's
people
what it
talking
says.
about MS. You've got people talking about how it's helping with autism, depression, all these different things. Phenomenal movie. Highly recommend that people watch that. And thank you for watching our channel. Thank you for being a part of it
God bless you
and
guys.
joining us on this live stream. We'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe and share. Thank you so much.
Oh, we're so good.